This is the story of the biggest and most famous battle in Islamic history, the Battle of Yarmouk.
Make way! Amir al-Mu'mineen, Al-Farouk, Abu Hafs, the Khalifa of the Muslims, Umar bin al-Khattab. This battle will decide whether Islam spreads across this world or gets pushed back into the deserts of Arabia. We take everything we have and we meet them face to face. One massive battle. And we end this forever!
If I am martyred today, you are the army chief after me, Khalid.
O people, death is something that will come to every one of us. No man escapes it. So let it come to us here on this ground, in the way that is most beloved to Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
During the time of the first Caliph, Abu Bakr Raziallahu Anhu, Muslims had already started facing the superpowers of that time, the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire. Now think about who these two empires were. The Roman Empire had been ruling for centuries. The Persian Empire, same story. Between them, they controlled almost the entire known world. And on the other side, a young Muslim nation that had just come together a few years ago, with a small army, limited resources, and yet they decided to face both these empires. And the man Abu Bakr Raziallahu Anhu trusted to lead this mission was Khalid bin Walid Raziallahu Anhu, a man who, in his entire military career, never lost a single battle, not one. And in just 2 years, only 2 years of Abu Bakr Raziallahu Anhu's caliphate, Muslim had conquered a massive stretch of land, all the way from Medina to Damascus. Damascus, a city so important that even today it remains the capital of Syria. But Abu Bakr Raziallahu Anhu would not live to see what came next. After only 2 years as caliph, he passed away. And the man who became the second caliph of Islam was Umar ibn al-Khattab Raziallahu Anhu.
The new leader is now in charge. The world will never be the same.
Abu Bakr chose well. This nation needed exactly this man right now.
Umar Raziallahu Anhu had received his leadership training directly from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself. He was sharp, he was just, and on more than one occasion his judgment was so right that Allah revealed Quranic verses confirming what Umar had said. And under the new caliphate, Khalid bin Walid kept moving forward, deeper into Roman territory. City after city, the Roman Empire had never seen anything like this.
These Arabs, where are they coming from? We push them back and they return stronger. Who is leading them?
Khalid bin Walid. They call him Saifullah, the sword of Allah.
And then, right when Khalid bin Walid was at the peak of his victories, Umar Raziallahu Anhu made a decision that shocked everyone. He removed Khalid bin Walid Raziallahu Anhu from his position as army chief. The man who had never lost a battle, removed, just like that. Why? Now, why did Umar Raziallahu Anhu remove Khalid bin Walid? It's an important and fascinating topic on its own. If we try to cover it here, it would take us too far away from the story. So we'll explain it in detail in a separate video because it truly is a remarkable story. But in short, for Umar Raziallahu Anhu, Islam always came before any individual, no matter how great that individual was. Now in Khalid bin Walid Raziallahu Anhu place, Umar Raziallahu Anhu appointed Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah Raziallahu Anhu as the new army chief of the Muslim forces. Now Khalid bin Walid had already conquered Damascus during his time, a city so major that it remains the capital of Syria to this very day. So now under Abu Ubaidah leadership, the Muslim army moved forward, beyond Damascus, deeper into Roman territory, and they reached another very important Roman city, Emesa, known today as Homs. Emesa was not an ordinary city. It had long, strong walls built to keep any army out, and right in front of those walls, a wide canal had been built, so that no enemy could even reach the walls in the first place.
Surround it! Every side! Let nothing go in and nothing come out.
And so the Muslims surrounded Emesa completely. But now a new problem appeared, one that no enemy had ever managed to create for them. It was December, and in this part of the world, December meant severe winter, heavy snowfall, freezing cold. And remember, these were Arabs, men who had grown up in the hot desert of Arabia. They had never experienced cold like this in their lives.
Look at them. Desert men trying to survive a Syrian winter.
How long before they break? Not long. The cold will do what our swords could not.
And the Roman general was not entirely wrong. A long time passed, and the Muslims for the first time could not break through. The cold, the canal, the walls, everything was working against them. And then something happened that had never happened before in Islamic history. The Muslims decided to leave, to abandon the siege and go back. For the first time ever, a Muslim army was walking away from a battle.
You see that? They are leaving. We told you these Arabs cannot survive our winter. They came all this way for nothing. Don't let them walk away peacefully. Go after them. Drive them out faster. Let every tribe in this region see that Emesa defeated the Muslims.
And that was exactly the mistake Emesa general had been waiting to make. The moment the Roman army stepped outside the range of their own city's arrows and cannons, the Muslim army stopped and attacked. And at the exact same moment, two other Muslim divisions came from both sides and hit them at the same time. The entire Roman force was finished, their general killed. Now, when you look at this plan carefully, the fake retreat, the hidden divisions on both sides, the perfect timing, it makes you think. This kind of military thinking, this level of planning, it had Khalid bin Walid fingerprints all over it. Abu Ubaidah now brought the Muslim army back to the walls of Emesa. The people of Emesa, who had been celebrating just minutes before, opened their gates and surrendered. And now, finally, the time had come. Muslim had conquered Damascus. They had conquered Emesa. The road toward the heart of the Roman Empire was open. The next stop, Constantinople, the capital of the Roman Empire itself. But then a messenger arrived, riding at full speed from Medina, carrying a letter from Khalifa Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And what was written in that letter, nobody expected. The letter from Khalifa Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu was very clear. The Muslim army was not to move beyond Emesa. No more cities, no more conquests. Whatever had been taken, that was enough for now.
No further advance?
Those are the Khalifa orders. We follow them.
And without a single question, without a single objection, Abu Ubaidah and the entire Muslim army accepted this order, just like that. And if you look at this on a map, the difference is extraordinary. In just 2 years of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's caliphate, Muslims had conquered from Medina all the way to Damascus. But in Umar radiallahu anhu, first 2 years after this order, the expansion had almost completely stopped. Now the obvious question is, why? Why would Umar radiallahu anhu, the Khalifa of the most powerful growing force in the world, suddenly tell his army to stop? To understand. Umar radiallahu anhu thinking, we need to go back even further, to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. There was a time, in the early days of Islam, when the leaders of Makkah came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with an offer.
Muhammad, we have thought about this carefully. You want change, we understand. So here is what we offer you. Accept our gods alongside yours, and we will make you the king of Makkah. Wealth, power, status, everything. All of this, just say yes.
This was not a small offer. Kingship of Makkah, the most important city in all of Arabia. Wealth, power, the respect of every tribe. Anyone else would have taken it immediately, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam refused, and instead chose years of hardship, years of persecution, years of difficulty, because he understood something those Quraysh leaders never could, that the easy path and the right path are almost never the same path. And Umar radiallahu anhu, trained directly by that same Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, understood this better than anyone. Because yes, if Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu had kept going, if the Muslim army had kept conquering city after city, empire after empire, the Muslim territory would have become enormous. And Umar radiallahu anhu himself would have become one of the greatest kings in the history of the world. But would that have benefited Islam? Think about it this way. Today in the world we live in right now, there are almost 2 billion Muslims on this earth. 2 billion. That is an enormous number. But with 2 billion Muslims, what is the real status of Muslims in the world today? This is exactly what Umar radiallahu anhu was afraid of. He did not want a large Muslim empire full of people who were Muslim only in name. He wanted fewer Muslims, but real Muslims. Muslims who actually lived by what Islam taught. And so the order was, stop, build what you have, make it strong, make it real, before taking another step forward. But Umar radiallahu anhu was not finished, because shortly after, another letter arrived from Medina, this time with a different message entirely. In this letter, Umar radiallahu anhu told Abu Ubaidah something that had never been said before in Islamic history.
From this day forward, you are not only the army chief of the Muslim forces, you are the governor of all of Syria. Your job is to teach these people Islam. Show them what Islam actually is.
This was a historic moment. For the first time ever, the Islamic system was being established outside of Arabia, and Umar radiallahu anhu had chosen Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu for this task very carefully. Because Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah was one of the first 10 people to accept Islam, he had been with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through everything, every decision, every difficulty, every moment. And his loyalty to Islam had already been proven in the most extraordinary way. In the Battle of Badr, When Muslims and non-believers faced each other, Abu Ubaida's own father was standing in the enemy's army, and when the battle started, Abu Ubaida's father came directly for him, and it was Abu Ubaida's own hand that ended his father's life.
Forgive me, Father, but my soul belongs to Allah.
After that, nobody had any doubt about where Abu Ubaida's loyalty stood. This was the man Umar Raziallahu Anhu trusted to bring Islam to an entirely new world. And Abu Ubaida got to work immediately. He divided all of Syria into smaller regions and appointed governors for each one. Khalid bin Walid, made governor of Damascus. Amr ibn al-As Raziallahu Anhu, made governor of Jordan. And Abu Ubaida himself set up his headquarters in Emesa, right at the front, so that if any danger came, he would be the first to know. And now, for the first time, the people of Syria began to see what Islamic governance actually looked like. And what the people of Syria saw genuinely surprised them, because this was not what they expected from a conquering army. For the first time, the powerful and the ordinary stood equal before the law. Rich merchants, tribal leaders, men who had never been questioned by anyone in their lives, were now being held accountable, just like everyone else.
Do you see that? That man has never answered to anyone in this city. Not once in his entire life. And yet here he stands, like any other man.
Zakat was collected. Jizya was established. Islamic courts were set up across Syria. And for the first time in this region's history, there was even a proper police system to protect ordinary people. And the people of Syria, who had lived under Roman rule for centuries, began to quietly compare.
I want to say something, but I almost feel strange saying it.
Say it, man.
These Muslims, we were just happy they didn't kill us when they arrived. We were just happy they didn't take our women. We were just happy they left our lands alone.
And then they did all of that, and more.
Their courts are fair. Their governors live like ordinary men. No throw palace. I have never seen rulers like this.
Neither have I.
This was the reality that Umar Raziallahu Anhu had always understood. That Islam would spread not just through battles, but through the way Muslims actually lived. The way they treated people, the justice they brought. And so more than a full year passed. Muslim did not conquer a single new city. They focused entirely on building what they already had. But while Muslim were doing this, on the other side of the world, the Roman Emperor Heraclius was watching and thinking, because Heraclius had a very serious problem. His empire, one of the greatest empires in human history, was losing to a Muslim army that was a fraction of his size. And no matter what he did, no matter how many soldiers he sent, the result was always the same.
Explain this to me. We outnumber them. Our soldiers are trained. Our empire has stood for centuries, yet we keep losing. How?
Your Majesty, their armor is light, much lighter than ours, which means their speed is always greater than ours. And they never fight as one large army. They always in smaller, faster groups. It is very difficult to pin them down.
And what Heraclius decided next was something that nobody in the world thought was possible, because the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire had been the two greatest powers in the world for centuries, but they had also been each other's greatest enemies. For over 800 years, these two empires had been at war, on and off, but always enemies. 800 years. Think about that. 800 years of fighting, 800 years of hatred, 800 years of never trusting each other. And then Heraclius, out of nowhere, extended a hand of friendship to the Persian emperor. For the first time in 800 years, the Roman and Persian empires were not just friends, they were family. And now these two empires, the two most powerful forces on earth, began building their armies together against one enemy, the Muslim. And back in Syria, Abu Ubaida Raziallahu Anhu was receiving news of every single move Heraclius was making, and the tension in the Muslim camp was growing, because what Heraclius was planning was unlike anything the Muslim army had ever faced before. Heraclius called a meeting of all his top generals in Antioch, and he asked them one simple question.
I want an honest answer. We outnumber these Muslims. Our soldiers are trained. Our empire has stood longer than any of you have been alive. So tell me, why do we keep losing to them?
Your Majesty, their armor. In every battle, their speed gives them the advantage before we can even organize ourselves.
They are not fighting any army we have fought. Their tactics, their discipline is unlike anything in our experience.
Then there is only one answer to all of this. We stop fighting them the way we have been fighting them. No more small battles. No more sending armies piece by piece. Send word to every corner of this empire. Every province, every governor. Every able young man, whether he wants to fight or not, is to be sent to Antioch immediately.
And the orders were clear. Any young man capable of fighting, whether willing or not, was to be enlisted in the Roman army and sent to Antioch. From every corner of the Roman Empire, soldiers began pouring into Antioch. Thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands.
We take everything we have and we meet them face to face. One massive battle, and we end this forever!
The Roman Empire was preparing something that the Muslim world had never seen before, an army so large that just hearing the number would make anyone's heart sink. And back in Syria, the news reached Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu anhu. Every detail, every number, and for the first time, a very real tension spread through the Muslim camp.
200,000. That is what they are saying.
Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu anhu immediately called a meeting of all his generals.
You have all heard the news. The Roman Empire is assembling an army the likes of which we have never faced. I want to hear from every one of you. What do? We cannot face an army that size here, not in our current position. We need to regroup, pull back to where Khalid bin Walid is waiting in Damascus. Together we are stronger.
And so the decision was made. The Muslim army would leave Emesa and retreat to Damascus, where Khalid bin Walid was waiting with his forces. But before a single soldier took a single step out of Emesa, Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu anhu did something that would once again leave the people of this city completely speechless. Before leaving Emesa, Abu Ubaidah radiyallahu anhu called the city's finance minister.
I need you to do something before we leave. Every person in this city who paid jizya to us, I want every single one of them to get their money back. Every coin, every cent, return to them directly.
Sorry, you want me to turn the jizya to the people?
Every single person. Go door to door if you have to.
But forgive me, why? They paid it willingly. It was agreed upon. No one is asking for it back.
We collected that jizya for one reason. Their protection. That was the agreement. They pay us and we protect them. But now we are leaving. We can no longer guarantee their safety. We can no longer protect them from what is coming. So tell me, what right do we have to keep money we did not earn? Return every coin and do it before we leave.
And so, while the Muslim soldiers were packing up their camp and preparing to march, on the other side of the city, the finance minister and his team were going door to door, knocking on every house, returning money to every family. And as the Muslim army was about to march out of Emesa, one man from the city came forward.
I want to say something before you go. I am not a Muslim. I do not follow your religion. But I want you to know the way you people governed this city, the justice we saw, the way you treated us, our own rulers never gave us any of this. Not in my father time. Never. May Allah bring you back to us.
The Muslim army left Emesa and marched toward Damascus, where Khalid bin Walid radiyallahu anhu was waiting with his forces. And the moment they arrived in Damascus, Abu Ubaidah called a meeting of all his generals. The plan was to regroup here, combine their forces, and decide the next move. But right in the middle of that meeting, a messenger arrived, riding hard from Jordan, carrying an urgent letter from Amr bin al-As radiyallahu anhu. And what was written in that letter made an already dangerous situation even more dangerous.
The people across this entire region have lost their confidence in us. Not just in Jordan, but everywhere. Christian communities are rebelling in every direction. And when word reached them that we abandoned Emesa, their confidence grew even more. The rebellions are spreading faster than we can control. I cannot manage this alone. We need a decision.
So let us be clear about what stands before us. In front of us, 200,000 Roman soldiers. And behind us, rebellions rising in every direction. We are trapped from both sides. That is exactly what we are looking at. And staying in Damascus is not safe either. If rebellions as a large surround us while the Roman army is pressing from the front, we will be completely trapped. This decision is not ours to make. This needs to go to Medina.
And within days, a reply arrived directly from Medina, from Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu himself. And Umar radiyallahu anhu's order was something nobody in that room expected.
Leave Damascus. Not just Damascus. Leave all of Syria, every city, every position we hold. Pull back completely as if your enemy is directly behind you, so that there are no rebellions in front of your eyes.
Everything we built, everything we established, the Khalifa has spoken. We must follow the orders now.
And immediately, without hesitation, the Muslim forces began withdrawing from Damascus and from every city they held across Syria. But before they left Damascus, Abu Ubaidah gave the same order he had given in Emesa. Every coin of jizya that had been collected from the people of Damascus was returned, and one by one, every Muslim force from across Syria began converging on one place, the valley of the Yarmouk River, the army of Abu Ubaidah from Emesa, the army of Khalid bin Walid from Damascus, the army of Amr bin al-As from Jordan, the army of Yazid bin Abi Sufyan, and Shurahabil bin Hassana, all of them meeting at Yarmouk. Umar Raziallahu Anhu's strategy was clear. Arabia at their back, no rebellions possible from behind. Every enemy in front of their eyes. This was the ground where everything would be decided. And back in Medina, Umar Raziallahu Anhu and his ministers were preparing for what was coming, because this was not just another battle. This was the biggest test the Muslim world had ever faced. Back in Medina, Umar bin al-Khattab Raziallahu Anhu was sitting with his closest ministers, Abdur Rahman bin Auf, Uthman bin Affan, Ali bin Abi Talib Raziallahu Anhum, the greatest minds of the Muslim world, gathered in one room, and the situation they were looking at was unlike anything Islam had ever faced before.
Make way! Amir al-Mu'mineen, Al-Faruq, Abu Hafs, the Khalifa of the Muslims, Umar bin al-Khattab.
O Muslims, at this very moment your brothers are standing at Yarmouk, facing an army of 200,000, but they need us. This is not just another battle. At Yarmouk, everything is on the line. Either Islam moves into the world or is driven back into the deserts of Arabia.
From the very front, old men began to stand up. These were the companions of Badr, the men who had stood with the Prophet ﷺ himself in Islam's very first battle. 313 companions, and out of those, 100 of them were still alive, and every single one of them was standing up right now.
You think these old bones still remember how to hold a sword? They never forgot. Then let us go remind the Romans the companions of the Prophet are made of.
And that sight, 100 old men standing up for Islam one more time, did something to everyone else in that masjid. Because if these men who had already sacrificed everything, were willing to stand up again, then what excuse did anyone else have? 1,000 more companions stood up, inspired by those 100.
I will lead this army myself. I will go to Yarmouk, and I will stand with my brothers.
Amir al-Mu'mineen, we understand what you feel. Every man in this room feels it. But listen to what we are saying. This battle, nobody knows how it will end. And if something happens to the Khalifa, what happens to the Muslim world? The army at Yarmouk has Khalid bin Walid. It has Abu Ubaidah. It has the greatest generals this ummah has ever produced. What they need from you right now is not your sword. It is your leadership from Medina. Your decisions, your prayers. Because if Yarmouk is lost and the Khalifa is also gone, Islam loses everything in one day.
And after a long moment, Umar Raziallahu Anhu accepted. The 6,000 soldiers would go, but Umar would stay and lead from Medina. But now, here is where it gets interesting. These 6,000 soldiers were given very specific orders, orders that seem strange at first, until you understand the thinking behind them.
When you reach Yarmouk, you do not enter the camp all at once.
What does he mean? Why not all at once?
Think about what this does to an enemy.
Are those new soldiers?
They were not there yesterday.
Where are they coming from?
I don't know, but yesterday there were more too. And the day before, where does this army end?
Every day. More of them. If this continues, defeating them becomes very difficult.
And so days passed, and every morning the Roman army woke up to find the Muslim camp a little larger than the night before. And finally, after almost 1 month of this, the Roman general Vahan made a decision.
Enough waiting. We move.
200,000 soldiers were finally moving, and on the other side, 30,000 Muslims straightened their lines and prepared for what was coming. The night before the battle, Abu Ubaidah Razi-Allahu anhu gathered all his generals, Khalid Ibn Al-Walid, Amr ibn As, Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, Shurabil ibn Hassana, all of them in one tent. They discussed the battle plan, the formations, the strategy, and then Abu Ubaidah Razi-Allahu anhu said something that nobody in that tent expected.
I want to ask all of you something. What do you think, just for this battle, should we give the command to Khalid bin Walid?
Now understand what Abu Ubaidah Razi-Allahu anhu was saying. He was the army chief, appointed by Umar Razi-Allahu anhu himself. He could not change that officially. But just for this battle, he was willing to step aside and give Khalid bin Walid, the greatest military mind of that era, full command. And every single general in that room agreed, because they all knew that what was waiting for them tomorrow required exactly the kind of mind that Khalid bin Walid had. And just like that, the man who had been removed from command was back. Not because he demanded it, not because he fought for it, but because the situation demanded it, and the people around him recognized it. But wait, we said the battle started the next day. Actually, it didn't. For days neither army moved. The Muslims stood in their lines, the Romans stood in theirs, and nothing happened. And then at night, something strange started happening from the Roman camp. Every night, from the Roman camp came the sounds of music, drinking, parties, laughter. It did not look like an army that had come to fight. It looked like an army that had come to celebrate. And Khalid bin Walid did not like what he was seeing, because Khalid bin Walid did not just think like a soldier, he thought like the enemy, and something here did not add up. 200,000 soldiers, the greatest army the Roman Empire had ever assembled, and they were partying? Why? What were they waiting for? And then a Roman messenger arrived at the Muslim camp with a message from the Roman general Vahan. The message was simple: we do not want to fight. Send your strongest general. We want to make a deal. And Abu Ubaidah Razi-Allahu anhu sent Khalid bin Walid. And when Khalid arrived, the Romans were ready for him. The entire Roman army, arranged in full battle formation, full armor, perfect lines, stretching as far as the eye could see. It was a show, designed specifically to make Khalid feel small. Khalid bin Walid looked at all of it and ignored every single bit of it.
In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, I speak for the greatness of the Roman Empire, the empire of strength, order, and glory. And above all, I praise our emperor, the greatest king in the entire world.
I agree with you. Your king is great, perhaps even greater than our leader. But here is the difference. Our leader is not a king, he is a Khalifa. And the day any desire for kingship enters his heart, we will remove him from his position ourselves.
And he was actually right, because in that army, in those 30,000 soldiers, is the son of Khalifa Umar bin Khattab, Abdullah ibn Umar, not as a general, not as a commander, as an ordinary soldier, standing in the same line as everyone else. And next to him somewhere is the son of our first Khalifa Abu Bakr, Abdur Rahman bin Abi Bakr, also an ordinary soldier. That is the kind of leadership Muslims followed. Khalid rejected every offer Vahan made and rode back to the Muslim camp. But now, here is the question that Khalid bin Walid had been asking himself since the very first night. 200,000 soldiers, the strongest army ever assembled by Rome, and they want a deal? They are throwing parties instead of fighting? Why? And then it hit him. Remember, just before all of this, the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire had become allies for the first time in 800 years, and they had made a plan together to attack the Muslims at the same time from two different directions. Khalid bin Walid had figured it out, and immediately he sent a letter to Umar Raziallahu Anhu in Medina, explaining everything. And Umar Raziallahu Anhu's response was the kind of move that only the sharpest minds in history ever think of. Umar sent urgent orders to the Muslim forces facing the Persian Empire. The orders were clear: do not fight the Persians, not a single battle. Instead, go to them, talk to them, tell them we do not want war, tell them we are going back, negotiate, delay, buy time. And the Persian king, who had been preparing for war, heard that the Muslims wanted peace and was delighted. He entered negotiations immediately and agreed with Muslims. The Persian threat had been neutralized, without a single battle, without a single sword being drawn. And back at Yarmouk, the Roman general Vahan was still waiting for an army that was no longer coming. Every morning, he looked at the Muslim camp, and it was bigger than the day before. The 6,000 soldiers Umar Raziallahu Anhu had sent from Medina were arriving, quietly, in small groups, every single day.
If we wait any longer, this becomes impossible. We move. Now.
And so, after almost one full month of waiting, 200,000 Roman soldiers finally moved, and 30,000 Muslims watched them come without flinching. The Battle of Yarmouk was about to begin. The first day of the Battle of Yarmouk. On the first day, the Romans attacked first, using their numbers to apply pressure across the entire Muslim line. Both sides fought hard, but neither gained any real ground. By evening, both armies had pulled back to their positions. It was the first day, and both sides were still feeling each other out, testing each other's strength and resolve. The second day, the Romans had decided to try something different. Instead of waiting for the sun to rise and both armies to organize, they launched their attack right after Fajr. In the early morning darkness, before the Muslim could fully prepare. But Khalid bin Walid had anticipated exactly this. The Muslims were already awake, already in formation, already ready. This time the Romans attacked with far more force than the first day. And after a period of intense fighting, the pressure on the Muslim right flank, led by Amr ibn al-As Raziallahu Anhu, became too much. Slowly, step by step, the right flank began to give ground. and they kept giving ground until they had retreated all the way back to the Muslim camp. Now, here is something important to understand. The Muslim soldiers had been living in Syria for almost 3 years. Their families, their wives, their children had come with them, and those families were right there at the back of the camp. And when the women of the Muslim camp saw their men retreating toward them, they lined up the camels to create a wall between the camp and the Romans. Some of them began throwing stones at their own retreating men, not out of anger, but to shame them back into the fight. And it worked. The Muslim right flank stopped retreating, steadied itself, and held its ground. Khalid bin Walid arrived from the center with reinforcements, and together they pushed the Romans back. But the day was not over, because almost immediately after the right flank had been stabilized, the same thing happened on the left. The left flank, led by Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, was now facing the same overwhelming Roman pressure, and they too began falling back toward the camp. Among the women standing at the camp that day was Hinda, the wife of Abu Sufyan, and when she saw the men retreating again, she picked up a stone and threw it directly at Abu Sufyan.
Go back and face them! Go wash away the sins you committed before you accepted Islam!
The left flank steadied. Khalid bin Walid crossed from one side of the battlefield to the other and pushed the Roman pressure back once again. By evening, for the second day in a row, the Romans retreated to their camp, having gained absolutely nothing. On the third day, the Romans came again at the right flank, but this time, the Muslim retreat was not a collapse. It was a plan. Khalid bin Walid had given specific instructions before this day. If the right flank retreats, do not pull straight back. Retreat at an angle so that the Roman army chasing you gets stretched, split and separated from the rest of their force. And when that happens, the center attacks. The third day was the bloodiest so far. Heavy casualties on both sides, real losses, real grief. But by evening, the Romans had pulled back once again. Vahan had been watching 3 days of failure, and he had changed his plan completely. Instead of hitting the Muslim lines across their full width, he sent only his left flank forward first, while secretly moving the rest of his massive army slowly around the sides. Khalid saw what Vahan was doing and ordered Abu Ubaidah and Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan to move forward and engage, rather than stand and wait. The idea was to hit the advancing Romans before they could complete their movement. And then Vahan gave the order to his archers. A storm of arrows came down on the Muslim forces. Hundreds of Muslims were martyred in those moments. And among those who survived, 700 men were hit in the eyes. 700, almost blinded, unable to fight. For the first time in this entire battle, both the right flank and the left flank collapsed at the same time, both of them retreating all the way back to the camp simultaneously. By the end of the 4th day, the Roman army had failed to break the Muslim lines for 4 consecutive days, despite everything. And when the Muslims went to collect their martyrs that evening, they found someone among the fallen, Ikramah ibn Abi Jahal, the son of Abu Jahal, the man who had been the single greatest enemy of the Prophet ﷺ during his lifetime. Abu Jahal had fought Islam with everything he had, and yet here was his son, who had accepted Islam, fought for Islam, and given his life for Islam, in one of the most important battles in Islamic history. But on the 5th day, the Romans did not attack. Instead, a messenger came to the Muslim camp with a simple message from Vahan: "We do not want to fight anymore. Let us end this here." Khalid bin Walid gathered his generals. Some of them, exhausted from 4 brutal days of fighting, felt the offer deserved consideration. But Khalid bin Walid and Abu Ubaidah had a completely different view.
Think about what we have been doing for the past 4 days. We have not been losing. We have not been surviving. We have been exhausting them. Deliberately. Look at them now. Their soldiers are tired, their generals are frustrated, and they are asking us for a truce. That is not the behavior of an army that is winning. That is the behavior of an army that is breaking. Our real fight starts today.
Khalid bin Walid rejected the Roman offer and ordered the entire Muslim army to prepare for a full assault. The strategy of the past 4 days was now complete, and everything that came next was Khalid bin Walid unleashed. On the 6th day, before the main battle began, a young Roman warrior named Gregory stepped forward from the Roman lines, powerful, confident, well known among the Romans for his fighting ability. He called out a challenge, asking for the Muslim general to face him in single combat.
Where is your general? Send me your best man! Face me in single combat if you dare!
Abu Ubaidah Razi-Allahu Anhu stepped forward to accept the challenge, and Khalid bin Walid immediately tried to stop him.
Abu Ubaidah, you are close to 50 years old. This man is young and he is dangerous. Let someone else go.
Khalid, if I do not go, people will say the Muslim general was afraid of a single young man.
The fight between Abu Ubaidah and Gregory was long and hard, and then Gregory suddenly turned and ran back toward his own lines. It looked like he was retreating, but the moment Abu Ubaidah followed him, Gregory spun around at full speed, sword raised, and came straight back at him. At the very last moment, Abu Ubaidah dodged and finally finished him.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar.
And for the first time in 6 days, Khalid bin Walid ordered a full attack. The Muslim army crashed into the Roman lines with everything they had. And the Romans, despite their numbers, were facing something different now. This was not the Muslim army defending anymore. This was the Muslim army attacking. And there is a significant difference. But even with all of this, the Roman numbers were still enormous. And after a period of fierce fighting, it began to look like Khalid's decision to attack might not be enough. The Muslim were taking heavy losses, and the Roman lines were not breaking. Then, Khalid bin Walid did something that nobody on that battlefield understood. Vahan watched Khalid riding away from his own battle and smiled. Because to anyone watching, it looked like the Muslim commander had lost his nerve or lost his mind. But the night before the battle, Khalid bin Walid had done something that nobody except his most trusted men knew about.
Wait. Do not move for any reason. Watch the battlefield. And when you see me riding toward you at full speed, that is your signal.
He had secretly moved 8,000 of his best horsemen around the valley and positioned them completely out of sight behind that mountain. And the moment those 8,000 horsemen saw Khalid bin Walid coming, the Romans on the right flank had no warning, no time to reorganize, no time to do anything. 8,000 horsemen hit them at full speed from a direction they never expected. And fear, once it enters an army, spreads faster than any weapon. Within minutes, the Roman lines began breaking. Soldiers who had been fighting confidently moments earlier were now looking for a way out. The Roman army, the greatest force the empire had ever assembled, was running, and most of them ran toward the bridge, the only way out. But when they reached the bridge, they found it was already occupied. The night before the battle, Khalid had also quietly moved a separate division of his army to the bridge, hidden from the Roman camp, positioned and waiting, because Khalid bin Walid had not just planned how to win this battle, he had planned what would happen after he won it. There was nowhere to go. The trap had been set the night before, and it had just closed. When the dust began to settle, Khalid bin Walid stopped his horse. He closed his eyes, and for a long moment he was still, thanking Allah for a victory that had seemed impossible to everyone except him.
Where is Vahan? He went that direction.
Vahan had escaped the battlefield, but Khalid bin Walid rode after him and caught him and killed him. The Battle of Yarmouk was over. 6 days, 30,000 against 200,000, and the result was one of the most complete military victories in the history of the world.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
And when the news reached Medina, Umar bin al-Khattab Raziallahu anhu, the man who had planned this from thousands of miles away, who had retreated when everyone expected him to advance, who had chosen the right ground, the right man and the right moment, received the news of a victory that confirmed everything he had believed. And far away, in Antioch, Heraclius received the same news. From the other side, the Roman emperor, who had given everything to win this battle, who had united two empires, assembled the greatest army in Roman history, and sent them to crush the Muslims once and for all, now stood in Antioch and looked, for the last time, towards Syria.
O land of Syria, I bid you farewell. You are among the most beautiful lands in this world. But after today, we will never return.
And he never did. Battle of Yarmouk has been called the Battle of the Century, and that title is not an exaggeration, because what changed here was not just a border on a map. What changed here was the entire direction of this region's history. Before this battle, the people of Syria spoke Greek and Aramaic. These were the languages of daily life, of trade, of culture, of everything. But after Yarmouk, that changed permanently. If you go to Syria today, 1400 years after this battle, the people there speak Arabic, not Greek, not Aramaic, Arabic. That is how completely Yarmouk reshaped this part of the world. And Syria, which had been one of the central heartlands of Christianity for centuries, became, after Yarmouk, an entirely Muslim land, a transformation that has lasted to this very day. Now imagine the moment that messenger arrived in Medina. Imagine the city that had sent its sons, including 100 companions of Badr, to a battle that everyone knew could go either way. Imagine those families, those companions, Omar Radiallahu Anhu himself. Hearing the news, the victory at Yarmouk did not just bring relief. It confirmed something the Muslim world had believed from the very beginning, that when you stand for the truth, with sincerity and with sacrifice, Allah does not abandon you. And after Yarmouk, the Muslim army had a clear road ahead of them. The Roman Empire had been broken in Syria. Constantinople, the Roman capital, was now within the realm of possibility. But the Muslims did not march north toward Constantinople. They turned toward a different city, a city that held a significance no military target could ever match. Jerusalem, the city of the prophets, the land that Muslims had been waiting to reach for a very long time. And within days of Yarmouk, the Muslim army was marching toward Jerusalem and surrounded it from all sides.
I really hope this story did something for you. Honestly, Yarmouk is not just a history lesson for me, it's a reminder of who we are. And when you understand what these people actually went through, it makes you realize how much we have forgotten. Our kids today, they know every Marvel character by name, every football player's stats, every trending movie, but they don't know who Khalid Ibn Al-Walid was. They don't know Abu Ubaidah. They don't know the woman of Yarmouk who picked up swords when everyone else was retreating. And that to me is a problem worth solving. I also wanted to take a moment to say a massive, sincere thank you to the brothers and sisters of our community. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be able to keep this work going without your support. Every hours I spent in these books, every bit of research that goes into these videos, it's only possible because you chose to stand behind this vision. If you feel this mission matters, if you like to be a part of this legacy for the next generation, please consider joining us on Patreon. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment. And if you cannot do that, no problem, just subscribe and keep us in your prayers. At the end of the day, that is the greatest support you can ever give. We are building something real here for the next generation, and this is the place where we build it. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.